King-ohger, you've done it again. Broken record, I always say each episode is really good, but this episode, man, like, there was some complaints I had within this episode, and I still have some of them, some little mini nitpicks, but, like, the ending kind of upended them to a degree, and, like, just yet again proved to me how good King-ohger is, and has me really worried that Boom Boonger is going to be Gotchard 2.0, and I'm not going to have King-ohger to palate cleanse me after going through the death march that is Gotchard. But anyway, and we pick up this episode, and it kind of feels like a lot of episodes actually in King-ohger feel like a finale, which is weird. Like, we have a lot of big episodes where a lot of big plots going on, kind of a finale to things, or a big confrontation, and like a lot of big action sequences that make it feel like a finale. As we open up with something like that, and we have a big mecha fight, where the first time we've seen Kabuto and the big God King-ohger formation in quite some time, actually. And you have this moment where Gira has to trust Kaguragi to go into the castle to activate Kabuto, which kind of sets up later, like, his betrayal. I mean, he does betray him, but, it's complicated. And I think that was meant to show, like, how far they've come in that moment to reinforce what happens later. But yeah, big, exciting opening. But then everything else revolves around Rackley's plan. Rackley's is basically like, look, as a member of the 5 Celestials or whatever, I get a power. Everyone's got a power, like, the one person has manipulation, and so on and so forth. And so I get a power, and I want to be able to kill immortals like Gira because, I want to kill him, and then we're going to take some people from Terra, and they already start that by bringing in everyone's favorite villager, and we're going to go off into space and terrorize more planets. And initially, I actually thought this was going to be a setup for the next arc, and how we were going to go back to Earth to meet the Kyoryugers again, but with the way it went at the end, I think that thinking was false. But he's like, yeah, sure, whatever. And so that's what winds up happening, is then you get another confrontation between Gira and Rackley's, very well done fight scene, and then you have the moment where Kaguragi shows up and he throws the lance, Power Lance! Rackley's catches it, and it's like, oh, he betrayed me, everybody betrayed me, I fed up with this world. So, Kaguragi betraying them again, and I had some mixed feelings on that, but obviously it comes around to being something different, so I'm going to put a pin in that for a second, and, he transforms into the Golden Armor power-up, and defeats Gira, and I gotta say, again, the Golden power-up overall, great power-up. Bit overused for some chunk in the series, but great power-up. But man, I just love the Okuagata version so much more. It just has so much more finesse and personality to it. But anyway, so it's like he's defeated Gira, Doug's dad or whatever his name is shows up, and he's like, you have done it! Here is your power to kill immortals! And then as soon as he gets that power, he's holding over Gira, and then he turns his eyes, and then he slashes at Doug's dad, and he kills him, and he's like, get up, Gira, like, we have to fight. So, man, it seems like Rackley's has been playing the long game. Now, mixed feelings on some of that, but it was just such a great ending because, there even was a scene within the fight where Gira tries to appeal to Rackley's. He's like, remember when we were brothers and I have that one memory and that's my only memory? And then he's like, you are a fool! I'm going to crush you and throw you into the wind. No, that's a Dragon Ball Z line from one of the examples of when I think actually we changed the lines for the better in the original dub. But that's neither here nor there. I think what makes this so effective for this possible redemption is how well they've played Rackley's as a villain. Now again, I have some mixed feelings because, as I've said, because Rackley's has been so good, I just want a Sentai Ranger villain to just stay a villain. The closest we ever got was Abure Killer, but they're always redeemed, and I was really hoping we would stick the landing. In fact, during part of this, because of how well they've played Rackley's, it in a way have kept me guessing. I was almost wondering, like, is he going to kill him and become the big bad? Which could still happen. From the preview, it definitely looks like, brothers working together, redemption type of thing. But it could end up being like a Last Jedi thing, where Rey's like, oh, now you're on the good side, we can all save everyone. Then he's like, no, I still want to rule the galaxy like all the other sickos. For at least one more movie anyway. But who knows? But again, I've wanted to have just Evil Ranger, but I gotta say, even if this is a redemption, it's easily the best of the 3, like, Rogue Rangers we've got in the last 3 years. Stacy's was fine, but it was paint by numbers, and I got tired of the constant back and forth of, like, maybe I can be good, no! And he did that every 5 episodes. They did the same conversation every episode. And then, who knows what was going on with Don Murasame? Like, he just showed up at the end to fight, to help, because yes. But this has been really well done because, for the most part, there's been little hints that, Rackley's was good when he was younger, and there's been little moments like maybe he spared Gira, but for the most part, it's been played mostly straight villain. So this being kind of a long con for even the audience could work really well. So I have to say, even though there's part of me that wishes Rackley's would have stayed a villain, if he is going to be redeemed, I think it was very well done, and I very much enjoyed this moment. As a side note to this, I couldn't help but think, I really wish that they had touched on Gira's past a little bit more. Obviously, I think we're going to get the main revelations next episode, maybe the next few episodes, and it's what we've been saving for. But I feel like it would make more sense, just logically for Gira to at least think about his past a little bit more. Like, we haven't gotten any more flashbacks, which again, if they're narratively waiting for this episode, that makes sense. But I feel like there should have been at least a couple scenes where he thought about, like, man, I wish I could remember more about my past. It's kind of weird how little it was touched on. The other thing I had mixed feelings on was, of course, Kaguragi's betrayal, which I was, like, annoyed because I'm like, man, they just got me to like it. It was kind of mixed because they just got me to like his character, but also I fully understood why he was betraying people and basically, making only the best decisions for his people. So it's like, on the other hand, I'm like, I'm annoyed this is happening, but I kind of respect you because this is very in line with what we learned about you. And I was also glad that they didn't water him down. Because that will happen when you have characters like that and they turn good and then that sort of rogue tendency is gone. So I like that they kept that. But I had such mixed feelings. And I think the mixed feelings, especially when you reveal that he probably knows what Rackley's plan is, which is ultimately a good, I think my mixed feelings were less about the betrayal in the context of, like, the actual story that was happening and more about the writing overall in terms of, I think I mentioned this previously with, them turning public opinion against Gira and stuff again. I feel that King-ohger is looped back on a couple plot points far too often, whether it's the brothers fighting or, the public opinion being turned on Gira and the others, or, Kaguragi's betrayal. Like, again, it works very well in the context of this, but I definitely feel that's a small nitpick, of the story overall, is I feel they loop back to a couple crutches of storytelling with, like, those things I just listed. So it doesn't detract from the overall episode, but it's definitely something I noticed, and that's why I said, like, man, King-ohger does it again, because I was like, man, this is annoying, we got Kaguragi betraying again, and then, like, it all made sense. Like, I knew there was probably more to it, but with Rackley's, you never know. But yeah, really strong episode. Looking forward to seeing what they get next week. I really can't say for sure. Like I thought maybe they actually might defeat Doug's Dead and Rackley's becomes the main villain. Maybe he'll get redeemed and die kind of like Geizorg style. Who knows? It's really hard to know where we have to go for the next 9 episodes, except like being 95% sure we're going to get one more King-ohger episode. But what did you guys think of this episode? Let me know in the comments as always. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell. See you notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.